Hi, I'm Vincent, and in this video, I'm going to make a complete guide on how to use LinkedIn Sales Navigator, which is perfect if you want to build your list of leads. So you will see which LinkedIn Sales Navigator plan is the best for you. Then I will show you the best filters to use to find decision makers, and I will show you the filters that you really need to avoid to build a good list of leads. How to use the account filters, so very useful if you want to target companies that are growing or hiring because it means they have money. And I will show you how you can target specific industries. Finally, I will show you step by step how you can export leads from LinkedIn Sales Navigator with all the information you need, like the first name, last name, company name, the LinkedIn URL, and even the verified emails of your leads. So you see, we have a lot to cover, so let's start. All right, so if you want to have access to LinkedIn Sales Navigator, you need to choose between three plans. So you have LinkedIn Sales Navigator Core, Advanced, and Advanced Plus. And I will keep it very simple. For 99% of you, you only need the core version because it gives you access to all the filters you need to find your best leads. And the Advanced and Advanced Plus are not very useful. So if we check the price, so how much does it cost? Sales Navigator Core plan, it's $120 a month. And you see, for example, that the Advanced plan costs $160 per month. So if you only need to build your list of leads with LinkedIn Sales Navigator, the core version is enough and you don't need Advanced or Advanced Plus. And by the way, I forgot to mention that you have a 30-day free trial, so perfect if you want to create your first list of leads with LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Once you have access to LinkedIn Sales Navigator, you will be on this page, and the two most important features are lead filters and account filters. So here on the lead page, what you can do is to use some filters on the left to identify leads. So here you identify people. So if I type, for example, current job title CEO, you see on the right that I have a list of people who are CEO. And here I have the number of people who match my filters. Now this time, if I go here on the account page, here on the left, it's the same. I have filters, but this time I want to target companies and not people. So if I say, for example, that I want to target all the companies that are hiring on LinkedIn, I can do that. And here on the right, I no longer have people, but I have companies. And it's the same here. I have the number of companies that match my filters. All right, so now that you know how LinkedIn Sales Navigator works, I want to show you the best filters to use to find decision makers. So the first filter I want to show you is this one, current job title. And here, for example, you can say that you want to target people who are head of sales, for example. Here, just below, you see that LinkedIn makes some suggestions. For example, head of sales marketing, head of sales department, and so on. But I don't recommend you to click on include or exclude because you will have some bad results. So instead, what I recommend to do is to put the job title you want to target within quotes. So head of sales within quotes like this. And then this time I press enter on my keyboard. And by doing that, I tell LinkedIn that I want to target people who are head of sales exactly like this. Now, if I check my results, I see that I have people who are head of sales, global head of sales, head of sales, head of sales. So that's perfect. Now, of course, what you can do with this filter is to add multiple job title. So for example, we can say that we want to target people who are head of marketing within quotes. And this time with this search, I say that I want to target people who are head of sales or head of marketing. And if we check our results, we have head of marketing, head of sales, head of marketing, head of marketing, head of marketing, head of sales, head of marketing, head of sales. And sometimes you will get some bad results. For example, here we have someone who is director of product marketing. So actually, Doug is not head of sales or head of marketing. And don't worry, I will show you in a few minutes how you can remove these people from your lead list. The next very useful feature is, of course, company headcount. Here you can target companies based on their size. For example, you can say that you want to target small companies, so from 11 to 50 people, or you can say that you want to target enterprises, so with at least 1,000 employees in it, like this. And now on the right here, I have all the people in the world who are currently working in a big company. The next very useful feature is geography. So here it's not the geography of the company, but it's the geography of the lead. So here, for example, you can say that you want to target people in a specific country, for example, in the US. Or if you want to be more specific, you can target a specific city, for example, New York. And by doing that, you say that you only want people based in New York. And here you see New York, New York, New York, and so on. So actually, this is a very useful filter. All right, so now that you know the most commonly used filters, I want to show you filters that will help you to get a higher reply rate when you reach out to these leads. So let's go back on LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And the first filter I want to show you is this one, connection. And here you select first degree connections. And by doing that, you target people who are already in your LinkedIn network. So it means that these people might already know who you are, what you do, and so on. So that's why when you reach out to these people, you will get a higher reply rate. And I recommend you to reach out to these people directly on LinkedIn because you don't need to send a connection request to send a message to these people. Then the next filter I recommend to use is this one, change jobs. And why it's a good filter? Because here you target people who are new in a company. And when you target decision makers who recently change their jobs, they are most likely to try new tools on your services. So that's why it's a good practice to reach out to these people because you will not only have a higher reply rate, but you will have a higher conversion rate. And that's exactly what we want. Finally, the last filter I recommend to use is this one, posted on LinkedIn. So why it's a good filter to use? It's because here you target people who are active on LinkedIn, so active online. So when you reach out to these people, you will get a higher reply rate. So that's why if it's relevant for you, I recommend to use this filter. All right, so now I want to show you the filters I strongly recommend to not use because it will give you some bad results. So the first filter I recommend to not use is this one, function. So here, for example, you can say that you want to target people in the marketing. So let's click here on include. Here I have founder and CEO. Here, founder. So basically, these people are not working in the marketing. Here I have business development center representative. So it's more a sales job. And here CEO and co-founder. So you see that we have a lot of bad results. And that's why I don't recommend to use this filter function. And if you want to target a specific function, I recommend to use the current job title filter and you will get better results by using this one. Then the next one you need to avoid is seniority level. So let's say, for example, that we want to target director. All right, so here, fractional head of brand. So basically, here's a freelancer. Here we have founder and CEO. Here, menswear influencer. So is it a director? No. So that's why I don't recommend to use this filter, seniority level. And instead, I recommend to use the same filter, current job title. Finally, the last filter I strongly recommend to not use is this one, industry. And why? It's because here you target the industry of the lead and not the company. So let's take an example and let's say that we want to target the industry marketing services. So let's click on include. And here on the right, you will see people who are working in marketing, but the industry of the company is not related to marketing services. So let's check this one. Here we have retail. So it's not marketing services. Here, okay, we have advertising services. So it's not exactly marketing services, but okay, why not? Here we have hospitals and healthcare, so not marketing services. Here, this company is technology, information, and internet. So same, not marketing services. Social organizations. And here we have business consulting and services. So it's not very marketing services. So that's why I strongly recommend to not use this filter here, industry. And instead, I will show you in a few minutes how you can target specific industries, and this time for the company and not the lead as we have here. Now, just before I show you how you can export these people and get their emails into a CSV file, I want to show you one limitation that you will face on LinkedIn. So here you see that I have 4.5K results, but the problem is that Sales Navigator won't give you more than 2,500 results for one search. And why 2,500? It's because on each page here you have 25 results, and here you can go up to the page 100. So 25 by 100, 2,500. So if you do a search and you have more than 2,500 results, like this search for example, what you need to do is to split your search in several searches. And for that, you can use the filters years in current company, years in current position. You can use company headcount, and geography is good as well. So let's try, for example, years in current position. So less than a year and 1 to 2 years. So you see, if I add this filter, now I have 2.5K results, which is perfect because here I can export all of them. So what I recommend to do is to copy your search in a spreadsheet, for example. So search 1, search 2, and here I paste. And now I have to remove this filter and select 3 to more than 10 years. And with this search, you see that we have 2K results. So by scraping these two searches, I will get all my leads from my main search. Then once you are happy with the search and you want to export these people in a CSV file and get their emails, so unfortunately, you can't do that natively with LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and you need to use a third-party tool like Give Me Leads. So if you want to try Give Me Leads, you just need to click the first link in the description, or you can go on givemeleads.io. Then you can create your free account. And then if you want to export your leads from LinkedIn Sales Navigator in just one click with a button like this one, Extract Leads, you need to install the Give Me Leads Chrome extension. So for that, very easy, add to Chrome and then add extension. So once you install the Chrome extension, all you need to do is to click here on Extract Leads. Then you will be redirected to Give Me Leads. Here you can give the number of leads you want to export. So let's say for this tutorial 100. Then just below you can say that you want the emails of your leads. And finally, all you need to do is to click here on Export Leads. And now you see my export is currently running. I just want to rename it. So I target people who are head of sales in New York, and it's small and medium businesses like this. And now I just need to wait a little bit. All right, so as you can see, the export is done. So let's click here on download. So here is my list of 100 leads. Perfect. Now on top, I have all the informations of the leads. So I have the first name, last name, the LinkedIn URL. So perfect to send a LinkedIn message. I have the emails of the leads. So same, it's good if I want to send a cold email. I have the job title, location, and actually I have much more information. So for example, I have the company name, company website. So this one might be interesting if you want to personalize your messages using AI, company location, company industry, and so on. So when you export your leads with Give Me Leads, we do two things. So first we clean the data. So for the first name, last name, and the company name, we make sure that you don't have any problems with capital letters or with the rocket emoji in the first name. So for example, when you are in your favorite outreach tool, for example, Instantly, and you want to say hi first name, so you want to use this variable here, first name. You don't want to have hi Vincent with a rocket emoji like this at the end, but instead you want to clean data like this, hi Vincent. So with this feature, you don't need to waste your time to clean the data. And now the second thing we do is to check if your leads match your filters or not. So that's why on the left, you see two columns, matches filters and invalid reason. So when it's true, it means that the lead perfectly matches all your filters. But if I scroll, you see some people with false, and here you have the reason. So wrong duration in role, okay. And here we have wrong job title. And if we check the job title of Brian, let's check the job title. Yeah, here, fractional sales leader, and here, head of artificial intelligence. So basically, these two people are not head of sales. And then what you can do is to decide to keep some leads if they are still relevant, or just decide to remove all of them. All right, so now let's have a look at the account filters. And I want to show you how you can target companies that are growing, because it means they have money. And then I will show you how you can target specific industries. So the first two filters I recommend to use are company headcount and company headcount growth. So let's say, for example, that you target SMBs, so from 200 to 500 people in the company. And then here you can target companies that are growing. So for example, here with this filter, you can target companies that are growing by at least 10%. Then you click on add. And now on the right part of my screen, you have companies that are growing. Now, one more filter you can use to target companies that are growing, it's this one, hiring on LinkedIn. And by doing that, you target companies that have money. Then here you have two interesting filters. So you have department headcounts and department headcount growth. So here, for example, you can target companies with a department with at least, for example, at least 5 sales in it. And here you see that you can target a lot of departments, for example, consulting, engineering, marketing, or sales. So if you want to promote, I don't know, a sales software, you need to target companies with sales in it. And here what you can do is to say, I want to target companies with at least 5 sales. Then you click on add. And now you know that these companies have at least 5 sales. Then on top of this filter, what you can do is to target companies with a specific department that is currently growing. For example, the sales department is growing by at least 20%. So you know that these companies are investing a lot in their sales team. So you see, these two filters are very useful if you want to narrow down your search and only target interesting companies. And finally, if you want to target a specific industry, you can do that by using this account filter industry. And this time, let's say that we want to target marketing services companies. So we click on include. And now on the right, I only have companies working in this industry, marketing services. So here you see marketing services, marketing services, marketing services, and so on. So this is how you can target specific industries. Now, once you are happy with your search, if you want to target decision makers in these companies, what you need to do is to create an account list. So for that, you click here on Select All, Save to List. Here we click on Create New List. And here we can say marketing services, money, because these companies might have money. Then we click on Create and Save. And now we need to go on the page number 2 and repeat the process. So save to list, this list, and now I have to do that over and over. All right, so I have all these companies in my account list. And now if I want to identify decision makers, what I need to do is to go here on the lead page, and then I scroll, and here in account list, I need to select the account list I've just created. So marketing services, money. And on the right, I will get all the people working in the companies in my account list, marketing services, money. And you see that we have a bit more than 26K results. Then if you want to identify specific decision makers in this list of people, I recommend to use this filter, current job title. And here you can say, for example, that you only want people with the job title CEO. And here you see that we have CEO, 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 and so on. And now if we check the industry of the company, here marketing services, here marketing services, and so on. And then once you are ready to export these people, it's the same process. We click on extract leads and then export leads. So let's rename my export marketing services CEO, and now I just need to wait a little bit. All right, so this is my list of leads. And if we check the industry of the company, so here, yeah, company industry, we have marketing services. And if I scroll, you see that I have only marketing services. So that's exactly what we want. And this is how you can target a specific industry on LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So if you want to easily export your list of leads from LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a file like this one with all the information you need, like first name, last name, LinkedIn URL, and even the emails of your leads, you can try for free Give Me Leads. And so for that, you can go on givemeleads.io, or you have a link in the description. And now, if you want to start sending cold emails to generate leads for a business, but you don't know where to start, I've made a complete tutorial on that. So if you want to check this video, you can click somewhere on the screen. It was Vincent. I wish you a nice day, and I see you in the next video. Bye bye.